What's up, foodie fam, and welcome back to What the Fuck, aka What the Fuck Am I Supposed to Do With That? The foodie podcast talking about finding random shit in your house and how to make elevated meals out of it, aka figuring out what the fuck you can do with the shit you already have. We talk about a lot of different things. This is coming close to the end of season 1. This is episode 11, the What the Fuck episode for Christmas shit. That means this week we are having a holiday celebration. It's gonna be Christmas. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. But like I was just saying, we've been talking about a lot of shit this season, and I'm eager to just kind of see where we end up for the rest of the year. So not only are we going to be talking about Christmas shit this year, but next episode we're going to be talking about New Year, new food shit. You know, play off that trope, New Year, New You. Same thing with food. We're going to be trying out some new things. So if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, go back, take a listen. I guarantee you'll find something you can use, or at least laugh at my dumb ass talking about food. That's it. Let's kick it off. Let's jump into episode 11. So, most of you know that I'm starting out a new trend I picked up halfway through the season, which is, what the fuck did I eat that I love this week? This has been a little bit interesting for me because, as you guys know, some of this is pre-recorded, but it gives me a chance to figure out and really think about what I'm enjoying, and not just stuffing my face with shit and aimlessly thinking about random ass meal preps or whatever. This week, for me, it's a Caprese Salad. You never had one, it is so fucking good. I've said many times on this podcast and in other forums that I love Italian food. After soul food, Italian food is my favorite food. And that said, a Caprese Salad originated from Italian culture, and it's a very light, quick and easy, just juicy kind of salad. All it is really is tomatoes, basically sliced tomatoes, some mozzarella cheese, or like mozzarella, like how some motherfuckers pronounce it. You get you some basil. I like to tear it because for whatever reason it like kind of brings out the flavor, like fresh basil. So you tear it, you throw it in there. Then you throw in some olive oil, a little salt and pepper, and most people stop there. I like to kick it up a notch, and I use truffle salt. If you haven't heard me say it before, truffle salt is always like my secret little go-to spice. It's earthy, it's expensive, but I fucking love truffle. So throw some truffle salt in that bitch, mix it all up, and then you're good to go. You just eat it just like that. And most people, especially in Italian culture, they have it as an appetizer, and you can eat it at any point in time of the day. So whether you have it for breakfast, like I do sometimes, or you're gonna have a big hearty meal, so you have that right before then. But it's fresh, it's inviting, it's savory, but it's also like the tomato gives you a lot of antioxidants, so it's kind of healthy for you in a way. But I loved it, and that's what I ate this week. That I was just like, man, that shit was so good. How about you? Don't forget to leave comments. You know, whether you're on YouTube or you're looking at this on Facebook or any other mode of fucking receiving this kind of our podcast, this podcast. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, or you can shoot me an email at ginroecooks@gmail.com. Next up, let's talk about what we want to try. So I saw some shit. Follow me here. I saw some shit online. I'm always looking at foodie shit or getting emails about it. I mean, this is what I love. So I actually really saw something. I was like, I've never thought about this, but it makes total sense. It is nothing more than bacon, some cheese, and a puff pastry. So I talked about a bacon, egg, and cheese before, and that basically sounds like the same thing, right? This is a Christmas spin as an appetizer. What you do is you take the puff pastry and you pull it all the way apart and stand it out, whether it's some puff pastry you made or the Pillsbury Doughboys can. You basically roll it all out. You put the raw bacon in there, you put a little cheese in it, and then you twist it into like a long spiral. Think like a twisty candy cane or something like that. You put on a little bit of brown sugars, cinnamon, salt, and pepper. Pop that in the oven, cook it for a bit, and it comes out caramely and golden brown. It is so good. So for those of you out there who don't eat meat, this isn't for you. But for those of you who love bacon, this shit is for us. I definitely want to try it. I have not made it yet, but I found that recipe. I'm going to do it, and I will let you guys know what I think. If anyone out there has actually tried it, let me know what you think. Let me know if this is like something good or if it like failed epically. Either way, I'm definitely going to try this out because I love bacon. All right. Let's talk about our featured topic, guys. Episode 11, Christmas shit. I'm excited. I really, really am excited. I look forward to it. I recall back in the day, when I was a kid, there were many things that I was excited about, around Christmas, whether it was snow and just wishing, that I would have a lot of snow for like a white Christmas, or if it was just like the toys and whatnot, like just being able to play with some of my favorite shit, or just the songs, the music, all of it. I really love Christmas. It's one of my favorite holidays. As I grew and got older, I got to a place where cooking became my favorite thing to do. Like specifically just making meals, sharing it with my family, or going to my grandma's house and getting her bomb ass mac and cheese and the whole works. And because we have blended families nowadays, it was amazing for me to not only go to different houses on Christmas Day. So we got to make the trip to down south to go see my grandma over here. Then we got to go to the east side to see my other grandma, and then so on and so forth. That also meant food, a variety of different food, and cooked by a bunch of different people. And everyone has their own type of friendly meal or family meal that they want to actually pull together for the holidays. Most of it's traditional, but you have your own little flair. So that was always exciting to me. I loved doing that. Obviously, seeing family and friends, but the food portion, it was super big for me, especially as I started to cook, specifically because I've never learned how to cook for just myself. Like, I can't lie. I mean, I can cook for myself if I want to, but I just have always cooked for me and my siblings or friends or something like that. So I always have leftovers. I tend to have a lot of fucking leftovers, and yeah, I'll eat some of it throughout the week, but I mean, I made a whole ass pot roast. What the fuck am I gonna do with that? Like, just gonna keep eating it as sandwiches and so on and so forth. That said, I tend to give to the homeless, not only just monetarily, but food specifically. Going forward in 2021, we're going to be growing a bunch of different parts of the What the Fuck brand, and a part of that is going to be basically a donation for food and cooking for the homeless on a regular basis. And I'll try to make that grow, from where I am here in New York to, other cities, and maybe encourage other people to do it as well too. But that started from me cooking and loving to cook around the holidays, and always having too much food and going out and literally just giving it out to the homeless. One of my favorite times for the holidays and doing that was in Seattle. I lived in Pioneer Square neighborhood. If you don't know, the Pioneer Square neighborhood is downtown Seattle, and it's right around a bunch of homeless shelters. So it was kind of sketch, but kind of not. It was kind of a nice building, but it was like in that area. But that said, I would see a lot of homeless people, the crackheads that I've always known, or the ones out there fighting, or the drunks doing this and that. And it's not their problem that they have an addiction, but if we can help out in some way, then we should. And so that's what I would do. I would pack up all the food, go down to the homeless shelter, see if they wanted any. There were some who just was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll take it. And it was like, damn, well, bitch, like, say thank you or something. But at the same time, I understand that maybe some people give them food all the time. Maybe it's something they don't trust. But I still try to give away as much as possible, and I hope you do too. But that is one of my favorite things about the holidays. But I want to transition. I want to talk about what we eat. Like, literally, what do you eat? I really hope you guys write in or leave me a comment on the IG, the What the Fuck Podcast Instagram handle, or Gin Roe Cooks at Facebook. Just let me know what you eat. I'll start by thinking about what I like to cook and eat for Christmas, because obviously you have your Turkey Day, which is Thanksgiving, but there's a lot of similarities too in Christmas. So heavier, heartier meals, savory meals, things that are traditional, that you either traditionally in season this year, or traditionally as in your family loves to cook or do this, and that could be a variety of things. Last Christmas, or a couple Christmases ago, my family did a seafood boil instead of like normal like glazed ham or something like that. After that, I know I mentioned I do sometimes a rack of leg, or a rack of lamb, sorry. Or I'll do something like a steak or a pot roast with like mashed potatoes, maybe some broccoli, things like that. So it's similar to my Thanksgiving meals. I think it's minus the dressing. Like, and now that I'm thinking about it and saying it out loud, it's probably just get rid of the dressing and you have a Christmas meal. I mean, because I didn't do a turkey this year, but you could, I guess, a chicken, maybe. What do you guys eat? Continuing to think about holiday meals and how people, basically observe the holiday through food, I thought about dine in versus dine out. Typically, it seems like it's sad in a way because we all spend our holidays with each other and with family. But some people don't have family, or some people just prefer to be the fuck alone. I know I do sometimes. And I'm just curious about how people feel about going out into the world on a holiday like Christmas and getting like food from like a restaurant. I know Denny's and IHOPs, they're pretty famous for actually having Christmas meals served, during that time. And same thing with Thanksgiving. But do people actually go there? Like, I would imagine it's like maybe 2 or 3 people there. Because even still, I think that the most, in the worst case, let's say in the worst case scenario, you at least know somebody you can piggyback off of, or just stay the fuck at home and not deal with the snow and the cold and make a little small meal for yourself. But I can't really think about anyone I know that, or I don't know anyone off top of my mind that would actually go to like a Denny's or an IHOP for something like that. I find like going like to a diner for food fun, but that's like a brunch thing, a Sunday brunch thing, or something where we just want to hang out or something like that or whatever, and have coffee and drinks and whatnot, or vacation, but not like typically for a holiday. Anywho, shout out to Denny's and IHOP. I mean, I love the food. I don't go often, but I do love the food. So I'm not knocking their holiday meals. It's just, it feels weird to me for some odd reason to go to like a restaurant on a holiday like that. What do you think? Now that we've been doing all this talk about holidays, let's talk about the plan for Christmas. Like, what are you actually going to do? Like, what is your go-to for any holiday for that matter? But also, like, specifically on Christmas, what do we actually do during that day, like, to make it special aside from the food, although it's a big part of it? I'll tell you my plans. First things first, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take these badass dogs out because they have to go out every morning. And I have a puppy, and this fucker like literally gets anxious and starts whining, and the other one paces. So I'm going to get up and take out the dogs. I'm more than likely going to be in a very festive mood, so I'm going to probably put on some Christmas music, maybe a scarf or two, look a little fancy and whatnot. And after I take their ass out, then it's time to start the food. More than likely, I'll probably prep the day before. If I haven't, then I'll start prepping earlier that morning and getting everything ready. But that means we need to have breakfast. So for breakfast this year, I'm thinking I want to do something special. Something like maybe cinnamon roll French toast. I've been thinking about that. Or French toast cinnamon roll. Maybe that's the way you say it. But I feel like there's a way for me to take that Pillsbury Doughboy ass can and pull out those cinnamon rolls and then use my own French toast batter to actually make them into French toast cinnamon rolls. So I'm thinking maybe I'll roll them out or something like that, flatten them a bit, use the cream from the can or the icing and everything like that in my batter. Or you know what, maybe I'll top it off later. But I'll create my French toast batter with my special little blend of spices and whatnot, cook them boys up, and then use the cream as a finisher. Maybe a little bit of some light nutmeg sprinkles or some powdered sugar, something like that. Make it real confectionery, like a dessert almost. And that'll be for breakfast. After breakfast, or during breakfast actually, I should say, probably some mimosas. We're just going to get it started right early in the day. I'm not waiting till like noon or something. I'm going to start with my mimosa or screwdriver if I'm feeling fancy or, like feeling some kind of way. Right then. And then that's going to set the tone for the rest of the day. I'm going to be feeling good. I'm going to be grooving. I'm more than likely going to play Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas Is You several times, as well as Baby Please Come Home, her version, and the Darlene Love version, while I'm jamming in the cooking and prepping everything up, and then getting ready for the meal. But before we actually get to the meal portion, Wonder Woman 1984. I don't know if there's any comic geeks out there like me listening, but Wonder Woman 1984 I absolutely am going to watch since it's coming out streaming on HBO Max, and I pay for that shit. Looking at that Christmas day, getting all excited, feeling the love and the juices of the mimosas and the screwdrivers flowing through my system, and then also feeling like very fucking satisfied from what I think is going to be an amazing French toast breakfast, with also some bacon. Can't forget that. Then I'll start probably prepping, get the food in the oven, whatever's going to take the longest in terms of meat. I don't really know when I'm going to cook this week. Surprisingly, I mean, Christmas is about 4 to 5 days away from when I'm recording this, and I have no idea what I'm going to cook. I'm thinking maybe something along the lines of like a roast, like I mentioned earlier, or maybe a steak, based veg, so we don't do that for everybody, but maybe, a cauliflower steak or something like that or whatever. But something that's going to be traditional, like I mentioned before, I definitely do want to have some potatoes in there. Maybe not sweet potatoes, maybe just garlic mashed potatoes or something. I mentioned broccolini earlier as well too. If you don't know what that is, it's basically baby broccoli or a hybrid of broccoli and another vegetable. So it comes out with a longer stalk. It's pretty delicious. I like it better than the regular taste of broccoli. And then throw in a bunch of other stuff in there, like maybe even some beans and some rice or something like that. And maybe even a pasta. I have some new pasta sauce I want to try too. So maybe getting into that. But anyway, I don't know what I'm going to make. Either way, I'm going to prep all that shit, cook it, and then eat probably several times throughout the day. Not only while I'm tasting and getting it all set up, but also, I'm going to get full. I'm going to probably take a nap. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be hungry again. And we start all over. Especially by this time, I'll probably move from mimosas down to maybe just straight vodka or something. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what other people's plans are. So for real, if you're listening, go ahead and shoot that email over to ginroecooks@gmail.com or hit me up on the What the Fuck podcast. Don't forget to like as well. I'm looking to engage with you guys. All right, we have come to the end, or almost the end. It's time for What the Fuck Am I Obsessed With This Week? This is a section, unlike the beginning, where I am obsessed with one thing that I will have on repeat, and because of the holiday season, this is something that is super special to me. It reminds me of my childhood, and I will get into that in a second, but it is traditional to have this, and most people drink it. It is the one, the only eggnog. Yes. Eggnog. I know a bunch of people who do not like it, maybe because they don't like dairy or they just don't like the taste, but I love that shit. I love when November comes around and the stores start to sell it in a variety of different ways. And now the best part about it is, regardless of what your dietary restrictions are, there is a version for you. I literally just had an almond milk version of the eggnog, and it was delicious. And as you get older, I don't know if you guys know this, but your body changes, your dietary needs change, and sometimes people can't process dairy. So the heavy eggs and cream and everything is kind of reduced, and then it's based off less of the lactose, obviously, that's in milk. And the almond milk is a perfect substitute for something like that. Or they have low-fat versions. They have, I don't know, you name it. There's a version for everybody. Especially if you live in a gentrified-ass neighborhood, then you know they got it at that store. One of my favorites, though, is traditionally just with eggnog. For me, as a kid growing up, my favorite thing to do was have your eggnog, and then I don't know if you guys remember, but Teddy Grahams cookies. There's a cinnamon version, and I would just basically dump them in my eggnogs and eat and drink and chew it all at the same time, and it was so delicious. It probably wasn't good for me because that sounds like it's a shit ton of sugar now that I think about it, but it was so delicious. And eggnog will always remind me of my childhood because I always thought it was so delicious from the beginning, and it reminds me of my grandma who used to always have it for us, and basically that combination for me specifically around Christmas. So eggnog will always remind me of that. There are different versions of eggnog, and you have your virgin kind, like I probably should have drank as a kid, which I'm pretty certain I did. Or you have the kind that people make with rum, or some do it with whiskey, and there's different versions of this. I know it's like some Spanish cultures, especially like Puerto Rican culture, they make coquito, which is basically the same thing as an eggnog, and there's other versions all around, but I think that either way, it's a holiday drink and you have to have it. And quite honestly, the more you get it as an adult, the more fucked up you get when you drink it, because people get heavy-handed with that rum and putting it in there, and then you don't even know you lit by the end of the night. All right, we've officially come to the end, and it is time for our What the Fuck featured item. And you guys know that this is the point of the podcast where I'm just going to rummage through some shit and grab something, and I'm just going to figure out what to do with it. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And our What the Fuck featured item of this episode is broth. I know that was unsuspected, right? Broth is amazing. I don't know if you guys have used broth or if you think about using broth, but most people use it as a base for a soup, right? It's a lot of flavor, and typically broth is nothing but water and then maybe some other ingredients that has been boiled and simmered down so that the flavor from those ingredients are concentrated and they add to whatever meals you want to make from there. So Most people use broth like a chicken noodle soup, or any type of actually soup or stew or something like that. I tend to use broth in a lot of different ways, especially if I'm cooking like pasta or rice, because it adds more flavor to whatever that is that I'm cooking. And then I use a variety of different kinds for veggie for those who don't eat meat, or you can use bone broth, or like a mix of the two. And it's really easy to make when it gets down to it. If you have some broth, or if you have some like chicken, let's just say you went to the store, you brought a whole chicken, and then you plan on cooking the whole thing, or you want to like cut it up into quarters. If you cut it into quarters, you take out the bone, and then the back. You take out the back, and then giblets and anything else that you're not going to actually cook. Put those in some water. Throw in a couple vegetables, most likely maybe carrots, some celery, onions, some potatoes. You put that in a giant pot. Fill it up with water and cover it, and bring it to a boil. You can even throw in some salt and pepper here and there for added flavor, and then you boil that down, bring it to a boil, reduce to a simmer, bring it down to that simmer, and do it like maybe for an hour. That's the quickest way you can probably get it to condense. And as you're going, or as it's boiling, you want to skim off the foam that comes off the top, because that's like dirty toxins and shit that's coming out of the meat. But you skim off that foam off the top, throw that out, or throw it down a sink or something like that. And at the end, you probably have this all reduced down to maybe about half of where you started in terms of the water content. Then you can strain out all the other stuff. Take out your chicken bones or whatever you used or whatever. Put that in the garbage, and then through a strainer, pour your broth now into like a glass jar or somewhere like a plastic container where you can like just let it sit for a while to come to room temperature before putting it in the fridge. So that was a mouthful, but it was super easy. I'm telling you, it's super easy to do. The hardest part of this is probably cutting up a chicken, which I'll do a tutorial on or something like that. But you can make a broth any time of the week, any time of the day, and literally you have tons of flavor for any recipes that you're going to make after that. So it's kind of like getting your bang for the buck. Don't throw out those veggies that are kind of going bad, and don't throw out the chicken bones and shit like that. Put it in a pot, get that broth, get all the money out of what you paid for, and use it the best you can. But that's it. So that's our What the Fuck feature item for this week, episode 11, Christmas shit. It is broth. Get out there and start cooking, guys. All right, we are at the end. This is officially the end. I'm winded from just running through this, but thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for coming back. I hope you come back again and listen to episode 12, which again is going to be about new year, new shit, new food shit. And then we're going to continue this journey together. Continue finding things that we can do, pick up in our house, and making something special out of it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I learned something. Until next time, peace.